how to tackle this emergency crisis, from how can oxygen be taken from other nations to solving the crisis. We've discussed how we can rope in our corporations for the production and ramping up of oxygen. We also look into more of our assets that can play a very important and crucial role in solving this grave, unprecedented crisis. The Navy has oxygen capacities for the submarines, transport of oxygen being an important factor. Army trucks can be used for smoother movement of oxygen. This is the real time when we need to stand unitedly. Together, we can defeat the coronavirus. People from all walks of life are helping each other, and they're helping the country as well. ISRO, DRDO, more of our assets have in fact been trying to use their resources to take this crisis head on. We have our expert panel to discuss how we can bring out national assets into playing a larger role and solve this crisis at hand. Major General Dhruv Katoch, Defense and Strategic Expert, Director of India Foundation, joins me on the program. Mr. Ksiddhartha, Strategic Thinker and Earth Scientist, is also here with us. Dr. V.N. Jha, Senior Scientist and former Joint Director of DRDO, is also going to be with us. And last but by no means the least, Commander Dr. Bhushan Diwan, former Indian Navy officer and Senior Defense Analyst, is also joining us on the program. But the task at hand is no lesser in terms of the challenge it imposes and with the kind of urgency it imposes. Your thoughts and your assessment of coming into this debate, what's going on in the country, and how can our private sector, how can ISRO, with its multitude of intelligent network capacity, help out the system which is literally crumbling under pressure?
I'll extend the question in a separate way as well, Vinici. ISRO goes on to have a cryogenic tanks, and essentially it goes on to be having a cryogenic transportation. This is what ISRO can go to do. Now, the problem with all such type of cryogenic containers will be that you have to bring these containers, you have to thaw them, and then you have to again transport it to the desired location. Now, that is going to be a difficult job, but then at least it can be done within a manner of something like some 7 days of a time. The second part is when we are talking about DRDO, the Tejas aeroplane that we have manufactured, and on board oxygen generation capacity that we have already established a plant on that count. Now, the best part in this case will be Navy, because they go on to manufacture a lot of docks, a lot of welding tasks goes on to go with Navy, and the oxygen reservoir that they can go to have, that can be transported easily. Now, the best source in this case will be the industrial plants, which we're going to be having in Bokaro, Rourkela, Durgapur, Bhilai, Jamshedpur, all of those places which are going to fall under SAIL. Now, they can go to have a capacity to manufacture oxygen to such an extent that they can go to feed the whole of the world. Our problem lies with the logistics part. Now, which logistics? There are two components. One of them is you have to design it a train, and you have to design it a corridor in the same manner that we have been able to do in Operation Bus Tracks. What we did was that is a complete corridor dedicated to the transport of oxygen to the desired places. Now, this is what we can go do. It will only going to take 12 hours, so 24 hours of a time. First, transporting it from the steel plants to the railway tracks, and then from there to the desired location, and from there to the hospitals. It's not going to be taking too much amount of judgment work in this case. Now, all in all, our focus has to be on the logistics part of it. It's only that we're going to fulfill the logistics part of it will be much better off in comparison to anything. It's not a tragedy, it's not a problem that cannot be solved. It's not something that is insurmountable. It is very much within our reach, and that can be very well managed, even now, despite whatever that has happened.
Absolutely. And